From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.
Welcome to your Morning Pulse for this Thursday, January 29th. Starting things off before we get into our headlines or questions of the day, be sure to take careful to the roads this morning as we've started to see some accumulating snowfall on our weather cameras, traffic cameras. We certainly caught some video outside that you can see on my Facebook page, Craig Allison. Now, that being said, as you take to the roads, there's also going to be a little bit of reduced visibility with those snow chances this morning. Be sure to just be cautious on the roads. Now, that being said, question of the day this morning. What is the safest form of travel, as in miles traveled, compared to the number of deaths? Now, me personally, my guess was planes, but this might upset some people. The answer is the elevator. I can't believe it. We are simply in disbelief at this question of the day. It's trying to get one up on us. Anyways, we'll try again tomorrow, and if you'd like to participate, be sure to head over to our 1011 Facebook page. Go over and put in your own guess, and then we'll read off the answers at the end of our 1011 This Morning show. Now, that being said, let's jump on in over to our local headlines this morning. Today, contentious bills dealing with transgender health care. Now, these hearings come just one day after a heated 7-hour hearing. Now, the hearing marked a first, as for the first time at the Capitol building, required a metal detector to enter and was tightly regulated and controlled by ushers and Capitol security. The bill would require schools and state agencies to designate bathrooms and locker rooms by biological sex assigned at birth. Omaha Senator Kathleen Kauth brought LB 730 back this session as her priority bill. Kauth saying bathroom segregation by sex is common sense. And when asked why there is so much pushback against her bill, she said, quote, "There is a level of empathy that has become toxic." Her supporters agreed, and those who didn't questioned how it's even enforceable.
I don't know how you're going to enforce it, considering you would have to literally sexually assault people to actually check what's in people's pants. Because, what are you guys going to do? Are you guys going to have security guards outside of bathrooms?
It's immoral, wrong, and evil. We are telling our daughters this and allowing it in schools first and foremost, or anywhere for that fact. It is immoral, wrong, and evil. We are not getting people the help they desperately need and encouraging mental illness, lies, and delusions.
Now, what you just heard there is some testimony against the legislation. That was the first person, and for it at the end there. Now, during today's session, lawmakers will take up LB 731 and 732. LB 731 focuses on how malpractice law applies to gender transition-related medical care. And 732 would restrict how doctors can prescribe that care. We'll be at the Capitol this afternoon tracking these bills and bringing you the latest on our 1011 Now News app. Your second story, and in health news, after the Lancaster County Health Department confirmed the first case of measles in the county since 1990, we're expecting to learn more details. Health officials tell us an adult tested positive who was vaccinated against the disease and had no recent out-of-state travel history. There are 2 Lincoln locations they have recently visited, the 27th Street Walmart back on January 18th and the Medalite Urgent Care near 70th and Pine Lake on Sunday. Now, if you were at either of these locations during the time frame listed here on your screen, but if you're listening to us, it'll also be on our website. But those times and locations and dates very specifically lined out in our coverage, which you can find on 1011now.com. Be sure to check out to check your vaccine status if you have been at these locations and times. Watch closely for signs of measles like fever, cough, runny nose, red eyes, and a rash. The health department is holding a press conference this morning at 10:15 a.m. to discuss more about the case. We plan on live streaming it on our 1011 Now app on Roku, as well as our other digital platforms, so be sure to stick with us. Your third story this morning, former state Senator Dan McEwen has requested the Attorney General's office review and investigate a $2.5 million no-bid bioeconomy contract. This contract was recently flagged by the Nebraska Auditor of Public Accounts as well. This comes after public reporting done by the Nebraska Examiner and audit findings raised concerns about possible favoritism. McEwen submitted this request as a citizen as he resigned from his position with the legislature earlier this month after a push for his expulsion due to a misdemeanor public indecency charge he's facing. In McEwen's letter, he asks the AG's office to review the findings and determine if there is any criminal or regulatory violations and to take any appropriate action to protect Nebraska taxpayers. Your fourth story, and staying on the topic of Governor Pillen, Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen's office is addressing his recent Teletown Hall comments that brought criticism from disability advocates and families. From the Nebraska Examiner, last week, reporters tried asking Pillen about his use of a derogatory term for liberals connected to people with disabilities that you can see on your screen here, which he said 3 times during the town hall, but a spokesperson stepped in before he could answer. In a statement, he says he was always supported Nebraska's developmentally disabled community. Laura Strimple, the governor's communications director, said he was referring to the group of liberals who continually dress in Handmaid's Tale outfits as a form of political protest and disrupt official events and, quote, other left-wing radicals. You can find more on this story on our website, 1011now.com. And an update to a story that we've been following for some time. We have new details in the case of a Marquette woman charged in the death of a baby. And sorry about that super there. It's for the wrong story. But in the details of that case, 22-year-old Tiffany Cure has been found not guilty of all charges related to the death of 3-month-old Stormy Swartz. According to News Channel Nebraska, jurors did not find the state prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt during the week-long trial. Cure faced 2 charges related to the infant's death while the child was in her care in Marquette in August of 2024, including a murder charge. Jury needed less than 3 hours to deliberate. They were dismissed at 6:30 last night, and Cure was released. And wrapping things up with your final story, it's all about the money. There's not many industries that have exploded recently, like sports betting, with ads for apps to place a wager, almost seeming to be around every single corner you look. Here in Nebraska, mobile gambling isn't yet allowed. But even without this option available, the industry is thriving in Nebraska more and more each year. Across locations in Omaha, Lincoln, Grand Island, Columbus, and Ogallala, the Nebraska Racing and Gaming Commission reported a combined $261 million was brought in last year. This far surpasses the $145 million locations raked in throughout 2024 and nearly triples the total profits from 2023. The Warhorse location in Omaha is still the biggest moneymaker, with the Lincoln location and a close second. Those two are responsible for a combined $177 million.
We had over 1 million visitors just through the doors of this facility. I think people are just becoming accustomed to having casinos in the state.
We have seen so much growth since 22 that every year we have just either opened a new facility or have kept increasing different phases. So you're going to see our numbers continue to grow that way.
You just heard there from Lynn McNally, head of government relations at Warhorse Casinos, and there at the end, Casey Ricketts, executive director of Nebraska Racing and Gaming Commission. Now, the Nebraska Racing and Gaming Commission collects a tax of 20% of those total profits, a large percentage of it then going to the state's property tax relief fund. In 2025, casino revenue contributed over $36 million towards it. Additionally, over $1 million of those tax dollars were invested into the Compulsive Gamblers Assistance Fund. That's going to be your morning pulse for this Thursday morning, and we'll wrap things up with a look at your 7-day before we throw things over to Carmelo Lotuca. Again, take careful to the streets and sky with that reduced visibility and some snow.
Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Carmelo Lotuca in the 1011 Severe Weather Center. Let's take a look at the morning and afternoon forecast. There is a chance for some light snow showers out there today, especially in the morning hours. Some flurries, some light snow, little to no accumulation expected. As we go into this afternoon, temperatures climb into the mid-20s, overall cloudy, but the chances for snow are fairly low. As we take a look at Skycast, again, mainly in the morning hours, minor snow accumulations at best, a trace to maybe up to an inch, especially in northeastern Nebraska. But as we take a look at our high temperatures today, only climbing up into the 20s in eastern locations, maybe closer to 50 degrees out to the west.
From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.